Welcome back, True Seeker. It is still Monday, March 21st, 2022 on the West Coast, where I am broadcasting from. And what I want to show you is the truth about the Illuminati. Again, there was a real Illuminati established May 1st, 1776. And there's a language the Illuminati speaks in daily, and it's the language of numerology known as Gematria. And when you know their code, you can see through their rituals. And on this day, March 21st, some of the bigger stories was Lorenzen Wright's killer being found guilty of first degree murder. The first black female Supreme Court justice, her confirmation process beginning today. You had the White House come out and say that big companies who control private infrastructure, which the majority of the nation relies on, need to be ready for cyber attacks from Russia. And you also had a prominent dean at a Chicago university come out and make national headlines for predicting that there'll likely be a regular COVID shot going forward. She said it could be every year, it might be every couple years, maybe every few years or 5 years. But we're going to talk about how all of these stories are proof of the Illuminati, and you can see right through them again when you know the code they work in. And we're going to start with the Supreme Court justice because it's the most obvious example, and then we'll talk about Lorenzen Wright. Then we'll talk about the White House's cyber attack warning, and then we'll finish up with the vaccine news. But notice, in the time of the confirmation of the first black female Supreme Court justice, the first black male Supreme Court, well, actually, I take it back. The first was Thurgood Marshall, but the second, Clarence Thomas, reportedly hospitalized with, I would assume, COVID. And here's what's amazing about this. From Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black female Supreme Court justice. If you haven't seen the work I've done on the process leading up to this, you need to rewind. But here we are today on March 21st, the latest in the ongoing saga. And from her September 14th birthday, she's 51 years old right now. Talk about why that matters. But from her September 14th birthday to her process beginning today was 188 days after her birthday. And in Gematria, Bavarian Illuminati, just using the alphabetic order, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, so on, using the alphabetic order, if you add up the letters of Bavarian Illuminati, it's 188. If you use the rules in numerology, Bavarian Illuminati, instead of equaling 188, equals 80. And this news comes on the 80th day of the year, 188 days after her birthday. And we've seen these numbers come together in other rituals. Kofi Annan, the first black leader of the United Nations, died at age 80, and he died on August 18th, a date written 18/8 in the majority of the world, like 188. He also got his Nobel Peace Prize that he was remembered for when he died on the day, leaving 80 days left in the year. But again, just the same old patterns. And coming back to this, again, Illuminati means illuminated in the light. And the object in the night sky that's illuminated is the moon, which goes through phases. And what's interesting about her process beginning March 21st, 2022, is that the moon was at 88% illumination on this same day. And as we know, this is a big number with Supreme Court justice rituals, as we've documented for years. If you're new here, Gematria is very simple. It's the alphabetic order, as we just said, the alphabetic order with the rules numerology, running the alphabetic order in reverse, and running the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology. And you'll notice judge and gavel are the exact same in all four base ciphers. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, they're 88. The last president, Trump, his name equals 88 and 47, like judge and gavel, and he put in the most federal judges of any president in a single term. The first justice he put in on April 7th, 47, and his name was Neil McGill Gorsuch, which with the rules numerology equals 88. And again, on the day of 88% illumination of the moon, this process begins for a new Supreme Court justice. And with regards to Illuminati, meaning light, remember she was first picked February 25th, the 56th day of the year, using the most simple cipher. The word light equals 56. The word Abrahamic equals 56. The word three, when spelled out, equals 56. There's three Abrahamic religions. The beginning of the Abrahamic religions is Genesis. Genesis 1 3, God makes light. And today is 34 days later. We'll talk more about why that matters as we go on. But consider she's supposed to be a liberal justice. The last liberal Supreme Court justice to die was Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who died on her 188th day of her age. And again, she was born on the Ides of March, March 15th, and died September 18th, the day in history the cornerstone was laid for Washington, D.C. But you just got to say, what are the odds? And remember, with regards to the Illuminati in 188, the US dollar bill denominations, the 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100, you add it up, they add up to 188. So, again, the Illuminati, the illuminated object in the sky, the moon at 88% illuminated on this date, corresponding with Judge and Gavel. And so that's the first piece. With regards to her being 51 years old right now, the word moon equals 51. And the founder of the Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt, his name equals 51. The Illuminati was established May 1st, 1776, 5-1, like May 1st, 5-1, 51. And keep in mind the word federal equals 51. The word conspiracy also equals 51. So, with that said, Lorenzen Wright, Illuminati, let's talk about it more. This 88% moon phase. The last teammate of Lorenzen Wright's, well, it was the Cavs, and he was teammates with LeBron James. Lorenzen Wright's last NBA season was his 13th season. Like the moon is on a 13-month calendar. And again, he was on that team with the Cavs and LeBron. When he died, LeBron was 25 years old at the time. And from LeBron's birthday, December 30th, to Lorenzen Wright's death, July 19th, 2010, was 201 days later. And notice, the Bavarian Illuminati, founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, when he first named the order, he called it Bavarian Illuminati, like we said, which is 188 with the alphabetic order. Then he quickly renamed it Order of Illuminati, and you can look this up. It's all factually accurate. 201 and 188. Think about what the difference of those two numbers is. 13, right? Like the moon and the 13-month cycle. And as we know, there's somebody that just keeps calling my phone who has 201. It's got to be a troll. It's got to be a troll. Anyway, 201. Remember how important this number is to the Jesuits. The Order of Illuminati was established by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And again, he died in history November 18th, 1830, 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment. And when you write out the Jesuit order, it's 201. When you write out the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, his name's 201. We're living in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis. His birth name is Jorge Mario Bergoglio. When you write out his name, it equals 201. He's the first Jesuit Pope and the first to live in Suite 201. Again, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 201. Ignatius of Loyola, 201. You run the alphabetic order in reverse. That's where the Jesuit order is 201. Huge number with their patterns. And don't forget, LeBron was born 201 days after the 1984 NBA Finals. And notice in the base ciphers, the Jesuit order is 201 in reverse. Also 84 with numerology. LeBron born 201 days after the 84 Finals. As we'll get to, this man sentenced guilty or found guilty today of first-degree murder, exactly 609 weeks, 6-9, also like the Jesuit order from Lorenzen Wright's death. And keep in mind, Supreme Court's also 69. Just all these things coming together. Notice how Supreme Court is 69. Notice how Illuminati is 69. Notice how New World Order is 69. Notice how Catholic Church, who the Jesuits and the Illuminati serve, is 69. The word illuminated, also 69. 177, like the Jesuit order. Notice how illuminated and Illuminati are hardly any different. They're all 120, 48, and 69. You know? And there's a reason for all this stuff. The 150 is interesting because the sun is the object that illuminates, and it's 150 million kilometers away. And if you write out heliocentrism, model that everything goes around the sun, it's 150 and 201 like Order of Illuminati, 69 and 75 like Catholic Church. Remember the Alec Baldwin killing of the Ukrainian woman at 1:50 p.m. in the afternoon, 201 days after his birthday, which is on the 93rd day of the year, and 93 days after the anniversary of Bruce Lee, who died on the 201st day of the year while filming Game of Death, like how Brandon Lee died in 93 and was buried on Alec Baldwin's birthday on the 93rd day of 93. And again, they say the sun is 93 million miles away. Order of Illuminati also 93. So if you need to hear that a second time, just rewind it until you heard it enough. But again, Alec Baldwin's killing was compared to Brandon Lee's death. Brandon Lee's death was compared to his father's last movie that he died while filming, Game of Death, where he fights Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who this year on the Jesuit Order's birthday, 201 days from his own birthday, came out and told everybody to get vaccinated. I think it was Rolling Stone that published it. But if you go back and look at the 2008-2009 season, Lorenzen Wright's last season in the NBA as a member of the Cavaliers with LeBron, LeBron played 81 games that season, a number that should sound familiar in the NBA. Remember, Kobe Bean Bryant equals 81. Mark of the Beast equals 81. Kobe scored 81 points, his career high in his 666th career game. LeBron passes Kobe in points scored. The next day, Kobe Bryant dies while traveling from Catholic Mass in a big 201 ritual. If you write out Catholic Mass, it equals 201. If you write out Catholic Pope, it's 201. He died on the 41st day of the Pope's age at age 41 when Kobe Bryant's 41. 41's the 13th prime, coming back to the moon and the 13 cycles and the 13 families that established the Illuminati. And again, the story with Wright, they said he officially died July 19th, 2010. That means in a leap year, when you remember the anniversary of his death, it is the 201st day of the year. They said he was last seen July 18th, 18/7, like 187, the homicide code. If you write out Unconquered Sun, it's 187. If you write out Holy Roman Empire, it's 187. If you write out Society of Jesus, it's 187. And the Holy Roman Empire, they celebrated the Unconquered Sun's birthday, then Mithra's birthday, and then eventually Jesus, the Son of God's birthday. And remember, the Jesuit motto, their logo is the sun with IHS in it, which stands for Isus Hominum Salvator. And in the most simple cipher, it's 274, like how the Roman Catholic Church began celebrating the birthday of the sun in 274 AD. The first Jesuit pope's the 266th pope, who's 85 years old right now, whose birthday, or not birthday, but whose name Pope Francis equals 122. Again, Gematria, alphabetic order forwards and backwards. You have all the ciphers. You can see through the rituals. And with regards to the accused killer, his name is Billy Ray Turner. And notice it has that 88 in it. And this comes today while the moon is 88% illuminated. And his full name in the base ciphers, it's interesting for lots of reasons. It's got 178 in it, like Kabbalah. This whole code of letters and numbers, Gematria, comes from Kabbalah. Kabbalah's Book of Formation. The opening page says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. This is how these people play God. Billy Ray Turner's 200 in the most simple cipher. Lorenzen Wright reportedly died on the 200th day of 2010, which is July 19th. 74 is a number that connects to Holy Roman Empire, Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables. Again, we're talking about the Society of Jesus. The word killing, 74. The word occult, 74. And again, we've made clear how the 88 fits in today. The day his killer was arrested, December 5th, 17, was a date with 34 numerology. Tennessee equals 34. Beast 34, Memphis 34, Young Dolph 34, Rapper 34. And you know what? Maybe that's where I should have started, actually. If I could do this video over, I might just start in a different spot, and I might start right here. Lorenzen Wright, again, dead 201 days after LeBron's birthday. And as we know, we recently had the death of Snooty Wild, and Ja Morant had a big game right after Snooty Wild's death. Snooty Wild was shot Friday and died the next day, reportedly. And there was a lot to say about this. But one of the images put out was him in a Chicago Bulls hoodie. And the Grizzlies on the back of Ja Morant, who scored a career-high 46. The Grizzlies beat the Bulls. At the same time, this rapper's dead, who's in the headlines wearing a Bulls jersey, who's from Memphis, who died in Houston. And notice from Ja Morant's birthday to the day of the man's death and the day of the career high was his 201st day of his age, Ja Morant. And don't forget what they just did with the tournament. Murray State, his old school, just became 31-2 in the opening round, 31 weeks and 2 days after Morant's birthday. And then they lost in the next round to St. Peter's, which we predicted they would on Patreon because Murray State, the coach, got his 67th loss on the 19th. And again, those are prime numbers. And college basketball, the prime numbers just come together again and again. Again, you know this knowledge. You can see through the rituals, and you can pocket some grocery money by taking advantage of the rig system, as we've done in a big way all throughout the tournament, hitting a lot of the upsets. And the Snooty Wild death at age 36 followed the Young Dolph death at age 36, and they're both Memphis rappers, the city that's known for the hip-hop group 3-6 Mafia. And when Young Dolph died, it was on Lord Infamous's birthday, or what would have been Lord Infamous's birthday. And let's not forget what Young Dolph did with the 201 prior to his death. Not to mention his autopsy just came out with 22 shots right before Memphis got their last win of the season, 22, in the first game of the tournament. But when Young Dolph died, he put out an Instagram post. Hold on. Before I show you this Instagram post from the 201st day of the year, I'm just going to answer this call that just keeps coming from 201. Who's calling?
Hold on. Before I show you this Instagram post. Hello?
Yeah, what's going on? Why do you keep calling in?
Sorry, hold on. Let me turn my TV down. I was calling in for, sorry to blow up your, I didn't mean to interrupt. I really do apologize for that. That's the only reason I was calling in. I've been tracking some of these storms that are going on in the South that are currently active. And I believe they are connected to the death of the Cincinnati Bearcat soccer player who died.
The young woman?
Yes. 1 second. So tomorrow, obviously right now, today is 3/22. There's massive storms that just went through Texas. Hit College Station, where Texas Tech just won last night. I'll get more to that later.
Well, here, it's not going to happen later, man. I'm doing a stream on different topics. I mean, so anyway.
I understand. I was just trying to get the information out really quick because, these storms are serious, and I think there's going to be the world's largest tornado in Georgia, and I'd like to really get to that point. And I think the only reason is just because it's happening now, and I think people need to know about it. I would not blow up your call if I didn't think it was urgent. So the Georgia Guidestones were built on 3/22/1980.
They weren't built on 3/22/1980. That's not correct. They were unveiled with the etchings on March 22nd, 1980. They were erected at the end of 79.
Well, what's the 3/22 date with that?
I just said it, man. I just said it.
The what?
I just said what it was. They were unveiled with the etchings March 22nd, 1980. They were erected at the end of 79. I just said that.
Well, if you look on Wikipedia.
All right, enough. Well, if you look on Wikipedia, yeah, moron, I just said it. The etchings were unveiled March 22nd, 1980. Here we are on the 80th day of the year. Satan's 80, Bavarian Illuminati's 80, Baphomet's 80, 322 Kabbalah, 3 pillars, 22 paths. But again, for the guy who can't listen, who wants to interrupt the stream, they were erected at the end of 79. The etchings with the 10 commandments on them were unveiled March 22nd, 1980. And they're not the 10 commandments from the Bible. They're 10 commandments from the Illuminati. Anyway, if there is major weather stuff on 322, remember, JFK gave a speech about weather control, which equals 201 as well, on September 25th, 1961. Weather controls 177, 201, and 69, just like the Jesuit order. Okay. It's rude to just keep calling somebody over and over when they're not picking up the phone, and then to not have your shit together either with your explanation. Anyway, and the fact that I don't know who that guy is. How does he even have my phone number? You know what I mean? He didn't explain how he has my number. He's calling from a number that says 201. I mean, there really might be some weather shit, but I don't know who that guy is, and he got enough time. Anyway, Young Dolph on the 201st day of the year put out this Instagram post: family money sacrifices. You can't provide for your family without money, and you can't make money without making sacrifices. And his label, Paper Route Empire 201, like Order of Illuminati, right? So isn't this all coming together? Ja Morant, the big star in basketball right now in Memphis. Rapper Snooty Wild's dead on his 201st day of his age, the day he has his career high. And he scored 46, and the word sacrifice is 46. And today happens to have 46 date numerology as well. They call him King James. Lorenzen Wright's death is synced up with King James. Psalm 46 in the King James Bible is the most infamous verse because the 46th word from the front is shake, and the 46th word from the rear is spear. And they say, Francis Bacon edited the King James Bible, but many people think Francis Bacon was really, or William Shakespeare and Francis Bacon are the same person. And if you've never researched Francis Bacon, they say there probably never would have been a United States without Francis Bacon. So anyhow, 201 over all these things. And with regards to the Supreme Court justice, remember, Breyer announced he was stepping down for her 201 days from his birthday, and his birthday happens to be the same birthday that the Jesuits have. And then she was picked on February 25th, 201 days from her upcoming birthday. And perhaps I forgot to link that, or perhaps not. Let's see. Okay, so when she was picked on February 25th, Ketanji Brown Jackson, February 25th to her birthday, September 14th, was 201 days later, you see? And now the confirmation process begins 188 days after her last birthday, the 2 Illuminati numbers. And let's not forget that Thurgood Marshall, he was picked in history on June 13th, and that's the day leaving 201 days left in the year, the first black Supreme Court justice. Michael Jackson was acquitted for molestation on that day in history. But yeah, just so many big 201 rituals throughout history. So Thurgood Marshall nominated as Justice June 13th by Lyndon B. Johnson, who replaced Kennedy, who met with the Pope, whose birth name was 201 as well. And met with the Pope shortly before his death, as did his wife. And I wanted to get up the part here about Stephen Breyer so you could see how his birthday is August 15th, like the Jesuits, and the day he announced he was retiring was also 201 days before his birthday. All right, so here's Stephen Breyer. He announced he was retiring January 26th. He officially retired the next day, which was a span of 201 days from his upcoming birthday. And notice the ritual was synced with his 84th birthday, kind of like LeBron being born 201 days after the 84 finals. And from the anniversary of him becoming a Supreme Court justice to his announcement was 177 days later, and on the date was 69 numerology. So they covered all the bases of the Jesuit order in the Stephen Breyer ritual that made way for this woman, and again, Jesuits, Illuminati, federal government, news media, sports leagues, essentially being Roman at the end of the day. The phrase "all roads lead to Rome," the Da Vinci Code series about the Illuminati and the Catholic Church, right? Putting it in our face in Hollywood, making people go, "Oh, come on, that's just a movie. That's just a movie." And realize the Catholic Church is just kind of hanging it all out there, right? Once a month, another big settlement for the Catholic Church for raping little children. You know, once or twice a year, another disclosure about something the Catholic Church has been hiding in their vaults. As we tell time by their calendar, and you look into English, you find out the oldest known script is credited to a Catholic monk, Burfirth of Ramsey Abbey. Anyway, also in the news, we have the White House coming out today and saying that a cyber attack from Russia is imminent. And in light of what we talked about with Bavarian Illuminati and 188, just go back to an old story, the WannaCry cyber attack that hit 100 countries. In the time I've been doing this research all these years, this was the biggest cyber attack, the one that hit nearly 100 countries. They said it hit 99 countries. May 1st, 1776, a date with 99 numerology, the day the Illuminati was established, with 13 families. Notice when you write out WannaCry, the name of that cyber attack, it's 99 like 13. And it's very similar to 13 in the base ciphers. But they called it the WannaCry virus, which equals 188, like cyber attack, like Bavarian Illuminati. And they said to stop the attack costed $10.69, which is a lot like 169, which has a square root of 13. That was the part of the story with the hero. And here, just about the U.S. currency, just for people who are visual, the U.S. dollar bills, the 1, the 2, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, the 100, the one's got the Illuminati symbolism all over it. You add up the denominations, it's 188. And this post is from August 12th, 2016. But same posts or same patterns all throughout history. And yeah, there's even more about this WannaCry thing, but it doesn't look like I linked it. I wanted to show you something about the hero in 201. This isn't the right post. Oh, here it is. The name of the supposed hero for the WannaCry virus, his name was Marcus Hutchins, and you see how it's 177 and 201, just like the Jesuit order. Just the same patterns over and over and over again. It's funny that it says you wouldn't download a bear because now Russia's the big threat, right? And the bear symbolizes Russia. Funny enough, the UCLA Bruins started against Akron, Ohio in the tournament. Bruins are Bears, and LeBron's from Akron. They had a good riddle to win their last 2 games through understanding that. Okay, so you can appreciate why on this day we're hearing about, on the day of this huge Illuminati ritual on the 80th day of the year, we're hearing about cyber attack. Remember, Bavarian Illuminati is 188 and 80, right? And if you write out Satan, it's also 80, as well as 35. And if you write out Baphomet, it's 80 and 35. And Catholics 35 and Holy See's 35. I know I posted a lot about 80 and 35 and something today, but it was hours ago. I'm drawing a blank. Anyhow, also in the news today, could the COVID-19 vaccine become a yearly shot? And this article focuses on what a dean said today at a Chicago university, the Rosalind Franklin University. And notice the name of the university has gematria of 132, right? And all day on this same day, you heard about this China plane crash, the Boeing 737 with 132 people on board. They said that 123 were passengers, 9 were crew, 132 people on 3/21. And again, notice how the name of the university that's also in the news with the vaccine, 132, 132 people. And with regards to there being vaccine news, the word vaccine itself is 132. And to bring all this together, how it fits together so perfectly, again, let's take it from the top. So, also in gematria, Antonin Scalia equals 132. Remember, he was the Supreme Court justice who died February 13th, 213. Kind of like how today can be written 21/3, March 21st, the 21st of March, 213. It barely still is here on the West Coast. We're about 5 minutes till midnight. But 21/3, Scalia dead on 213. And I didn't when Antonin Scalia died, it was months before I learned reverse gematria. I learned it at the end of 2016. You see how Antonin Scalia is 132 and 219? Look at Roman Catholic. He was the first Roman Catholic Supreme Court justice. His body laid in repose on February 19th, 219, like Roman Catholic 219. They said the plane began going down today at 2:19. That's the story. The plane began to go down at 2:19 p.m. Eastern time. It disappeared off radars at that time. But think about it. The Supreme Court justice is in the news. The same number patterns, 132 people on the plane that goes down at 2:19. The point to understand is who is behind these rituals. They even put out the hint there about Scalia. They said he was out hunting with his secret society buddies that were named after a Catholic saint. Saint, I believe, Hubertus, the mathematician, but then his body's in repose on 219, right? Antonin Scalia is also 84, like the Jesuit order and the word Jesuit alone in the United States of America. And let me write out United States of America because notice the 132 and the 84. United States of America, 132, 84. The United States of America, if you put a the in front of it, is 99. The country was named that on September 9th, 1776, a span of 132 days from the Illuminati being established. And again, think about the 132 rooms in the White House. And the White House is named after a Catholic architect. And Washington, D.C. used to be called Rome on the Potomac. And you see how Rome has the 51 in it, just like Federal has the 51 in it, just like Moon has the 51 in it, like how Conspiracy has the 51 in it. Supreme Court Justice is 51 years old, who's beginning her confirmation process on Monday, named after the moon. You see how the word moon is also 21? So is the word lunar, in the illuminated object in the sky. And here we are on the 21st, a Monday, where all of this stuff lines up so perfectly. This isn't just any old Monday. This is the kind of Monday that's ripe for a super huge Jesuit ritual, as we're uncovering. And with regards to the word astrological being 132, the moon is in the phase of Scorpio on March 21st. On 322, it'll be in Sagittarius. But Scorpio's interesting because Scorpio's the sting, right? And they're talking about vaccines possibly, becoming an annual thing for more than just the flu shot. What's the new flu shot, essentially? And like we've talked about before, Jonas Salk, who's credited with the polio vaccine, who has the same birthday as Bill Gates, they're both Scorpios, born October 28th. So while the moon's in Scorpio, this, big headline about how this might become the new regular, the new annual COVID vaccine. And in light of today having 66 numerology, remember, number of the beast equals 66. So does LeBron. So does LeBron James, who synced up with the Lorenzen Wright thing. And again, just to go back down memory lane, the FDA granted full approval to the Pfizer BioNTech COVID vaccine on August 23rd. These were the two mRNA vaccines. But of course, it was synced up with Jesuit scumbag Bill Gates. It was 66 days from his 66th birthday. And you see how number of the beast has the 174, 66, 258, and 87 in it. Bill Gates' full name, let's not forget Bill Gates' full name is 201, the most simple way. Also 84 like Jesuit, 258 in reverse like number of the beast. His dad died on the 258th day of 2020. And but number of the beast in the 4-base ciphers, 66 days from Bill Gates' 66th birthday gets full approval. He's Mr. Vaccine. He goes from Mr. Computer Virus to Mr. Human Virus. And it's funny how the Jesuits are simulating pandemics to rush out vaccines and simulating cyber attacks with computer bugs and viruses. But anyway, Bill Gates has the 258 and 87 connection. Don't forget, he supposedly got his vaccine on the 87th day of his age, January 28th, 2021, or excuse me, January 22nd, 2021, his 87th day of his age. And with regards to the most simple cipher, number of the beast 174, the U.S. Food and Drug Administrations who gave the approval by the number, and notice their name's 174, and with regards to number of the beast in the vaccine, the CladeX simulation was May 15th, 2018, the day to celebrate mercury, the harmful ingredient that can be found in some vaccines. May 15th, a celebration of mercury. But that simulation of the pandemic where they rush out vaccines was exactly 666 days before the pandemic was declared, the number of the beast. And when Bill and his wife got divorced, they'd supposedly met in 87. And from Bill's divorce date on August 2nd in Seattle, the Seattle couple, 82 on 8/2, from the divorce date to October 28th, 87 days before his 66th birthday. You see how they do it? And again, if you guys haven't read my last book, oh yeah, they got divorced on the 214th day of the year. Melinda Gates has the 214 in it. But if you haven't read my last book, Number Games, I talked about how it looked like they were an arranged marriage on the 1st of 94 with the planned pandemic 26 years later. And for anyone who thinks that's dumb, again, these people are very planned out. They're very patient. They choose their pawns, their agents, to build up the reputation years in advance. Bill Gates gaining the trust of the public over the many decades as this brilliant man who sees the future, who knows the path to save humanity. This is how a lot of people view him. In Seattle, he's worshipped by people. If you guys saw when I was out on the streets of Seattle trying to raise awareness about these things, you saw people come up to me and yell at me that I was a psychopath and Bill Gates is a hero. And meanwhile, he's sacrificing his whole family. Little Jesuit pawn on strings. But yeah, the day that they simulated, and by the way, the day that Trump, who's Jesuit educated, whose birthday is June 14th, the flag's birthday, June 14th through the end of the year, December 31st, is a total of 201 days. But Trump declared Operation Warp Speed, again, he's a Jesuit himself, on May 15th, 2020, 2 years to the day of CladeX, but on the day that Mercury's celebrated. And Mercury has an atomic weight of approximately 201. And again, all this stuff is ritual. So it's funny how it all comes together. And then what's funny is the area code that makes the most vaccines in the world is the 201 area code in New Jersey. So you learn the knowledge, you really see how it all comes together. Bill Gates, the face of vaccines, who celebrated his first birthday on Jonas Salk's 42nd birthday. Vaccine equals 42. It was the day Elvis got the polio vaccine on live TV 42 weeks after his own birthday, years before he died at 42. Yeah, there's a lot more that can be said about all this. If you haven't seen my work on Jonas Salk testing out the polio vaccine for the first time at Arsenal Elementary in Pennsylvania, well, I might as well bring it up just so you can see one more 201 and how long this has all been going on for. Arsenal Elementary. So February 23rd, 54, the 54th day of 54. Remember what they did this year on the 54th day of the year? Jesuit order equals 54. The FDA approved 54 different sizes of anal condoms on the 54th day of the year. They said the test group was 252 men, Sodom and Gomorrah equals 252. But here on the 54th day of 54 at Arsenal Elementary School in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 201, they unleashed the polio vaccine. A year later, they had to stop it because it was killing people, and then they brought it back at the end of 56. But think about what an arsenal means: a collection of weapons, Operation Warp Speed, a military program to rush out the vaccines, scorpions, Scorpios, stingers, you know. So anyway, this is what the Illuminati looks like, and they got their chosen puppets like Bill Gates, apparently people like Marcus Hudson's, you got the same numbers coded all over all of them throughout history. And again, we know that for all of LeBron's career, there's been a huge body trail connected to him. And turns out Lorenzen Wright's another. So the man who's being found guilty today, I mean, it's possible that ultimately that is the guy who did the hit, but at the end of the day, he's not really the one that's responsible for Lorenzen Wright's murder. Well, in a way, he is, if he's actually who pulled the trigger and shot him. But ultimately, there's larger parties behind the killer, is what I'm saying. And you just got to say, what are the odds? Billy Ray Turner, 200, dead on the 200th day of the year. 88, found guilty on the day that the moon is 88% illuminated. And with regards to 8, it's a number that represents time because it's infinite, right? Like time. And where that comes from is the cycle the sun goes through in a year. If you didn't know this, over the course of a year, this is what a sun does in the sky, how its position changes. If you took a picture of the sun at the same time, day after day, for the entire year, like if you took the photo at the same time each day, you would see the different positions it is over in the course of a year, and it'd be a big figure 8. So there was something else I was going to present on, but I can't even think what it is right now, and I don't have the slide up. Let me see. One second to see if I can figure out what it is. It's late. Okay. Again, the plane crash, like we talked about, it had the 132 and 219 coded into it, which are Roman Catholic numbers. And then again, even the phrase that was trending today, China plane crash 132, right? It's like they got everything creating the same vibration, the same code. But it's the 80th day of the year. And think, the Knights Templar in history, where the superstition of Friday the 13th comes from, is on Friday the 13th in 1307, the Knights Templar were burned at the stake by the King of France, where the last Jesuit Pope, or not the last Jesuit Pope, but the last French Pope was, who was the 201st Pope. And the Jesuits are from France, and Pope Francis is the first Jesuit Pope. Again, the first to live in Suite 201. But they were accused of worshiping Baphomet, the Knights Templar, and the Templar cross is in the Jesuit logo. And tomorrow's 322. Well, in part of the world, it's already March. Well, it's even March 22nd here now. But 322 is the number of skull and bones at Yale that's modeled after the Knights Templar. And again, 322 comes from Genesis 322, which is in tribute to the verse that mentions the tree of life, the physical model of Kabbalah that has 3 pillars and 22 paths. But Again, the Knights Templar are accused of worshiping Baphomet, which is the symbol for the Satanic Church. Again, all of this going down on the 80th day of the year. The Illuminati is Jesuit, who has the Templar cross, who worship Baphomet. You see how it all fits? But anyway, on the 80th day of the year, all this stuff happens, and Baphomet and Satan are both 80 and 35. And again, remember in the most pure cipher, Catholic, Holy See, Jesuitism, Baphomet, Europe, they're all 35. Europe, the continent that the Catholic Church, and historically, it was known that the Catholic Church ruled Europe. Today, people think that's a thing of the past, but it's not. And they don't just rule Europe anymore, they rule the world. Keep in mind, China's also 35, and the plane crash was in China, right? And I don't think I made it clear either about vaccine equaling 132 and fitting in with the number of the beast. Again, we were talking about how the simulation of the vaccine Cladex was 666 days before the pandemic was declared. Revelation 13:2 says, "The beast I saw resembled a leopard, but had feet like those of a bear and a mouth like that of a lion. The dragon gave the beast his power and his throne and great authority." So, this verse in relation to the beast, where the plane crashed today, has gematria of 34 like beast. Beast is also 88, like how the moon was 88% illuminated. And today is 144 days after Bill Gates' birthday as well. And remember, when you write out Jesuit order in the most simple cipher and with numerology, it's 144 and 54. And if you write out Mark of the Beast, it's 144 and 54. But yeah, I can tell I'm doing this stream in a late night fashion because it's not exactly as on point in the presentation as it should be, but it's still all the information's here. And I think people will be able to put it all together. I definitely could have put it in a better order, but anyway, anyway, I wanted to give this presentation hours ago, but again, been spending more time with Sweet Lady while she's taking a little break since she just finished, nonstop school and studying, which has pretty much been going on for 4 years straight. So anyway, I think we got it all in there, and yeah. So yeah, I think that's enough for tonight, and all right, let me just check what the latest headline is before I sign off here. Fires and floods seen in Ukraine satellite images. This is March 22nd. Remember 322, the number of skull and bones. They refer to themselves as the Brotherhood of Death. And with regards to the Illuminati, Adam Weishaupt died in history on the 322nd day of the year, the founder of the Illuminati, and he died 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment, from May 1st to November 18th, 1830, when he died. 201 days. And let's not forget that Biden and Putin met about Ukraine on Pearl Harbor Day, 201 days after the Ignatian year began, the first ever Ignatian year in tribute to Ignatius of Loyola, Mr. 201 himself. And let's not forget that the military conflict began in the Donbass region, which equals 201. And you just had the Hollywood actress Hayden Panettiere, whose ex is the mayor of Kiev's brother, who she has a child with. Don't forget, she just opened up a charity to raise money for Ukraine on the 201st day of her age. And a lot of people are getting sucked into donating to Airbnbs in Ukraine, thinking that's the right thing to do when they're probably donating directly to the Jesuit order because BlackRock's bought up so many properties throughout the world. Is anyone looking into who runs these Airbnbs that are taking your US dollars for donations because of what's supposedly going on over there? If you missed my video from the other day about the dude, they went onto the bus and said, "Look at all these traumatized Ukrainians. Let's see if any of them can tell us how they feel." And the one dude's like, "Whoa, are you from Britain? Do you 420? I love the 420. I love the legal cannabis." And the lady's like, "Whoa, this isn't the interview I was expecting." It's like, okay, this is supposedly the war-torn Ukraine where the people are all in fear. This dude's just excited to be on TV and talk about 420 and smoking weed. If you guys have not seen that highlight, make sure you seek it out. I have it on my channel, GematriaEffectNews 25. Um, So the storm's already started. And again, you guys, you can look up JFK's speech on weather control. I'll show you one more thing before we wrap it up. JFK weather control, September September 25th, 1961. This is when JFK talked about the advantages of weather control. You know, how if we manage the weather, we could make sure there's never any droughts, you know, make sure there's always an abundance of food. And remember, we just had Public Enemy put out the album "What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down" on September 25th, 2020. And from that album, we were able to predict the Valentine's Day blackouts that happened in 2021, 142 days after the release of that album. Like 14/2 is Valentine's Day, and that album shows Arizona on the cover, whose birthday is Valentine's Day. If you haven't seen the "What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down" album cover, it's got, you know, like a broken TV and electronics and a bunch of candles lit with Arizona in the background. But they blame the weather for the power outages from Houston to Portland to the southeast that happened on Valentine's Day. They blame the weather for it. And again, they've admitted to weather warfare since 1952. It's 2022, 70 years later. So whatever they had back in 52, it's definitely a lot more sophisticated now. And, you know, it's why people got to wise up to the age we're living in. And you know what? Since it's early March 22nd. Today, the Georgia Guidestones turned 42 years old. And what's etched on these things is this. If you just took away the first rule, none of it would sound too bad. But you have to really think about what the first rule says that's etched on there. Again, the etchings were unveiled March 22nd, 1980. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Now, they say the Earth's population is about 7.5 billion. So that's 15 groups of 500 million. So you'd have to get rid of 14 out of 15 people to be in compliance with that. And imagine that. Imagine that there was an agenda, a planned agenda to reduce the population to 1/15 of what it is right now. The word war equals 15. You know how Baldwin shot the Ukrainian woman on the set of Rust? Kind of like Russia. Rust equals 15 like war, both in the most pure cipher. And the Soviet Union broke into 15 nations, including Russia and Ukraine and all the rest of them, Belarus, which they say is about to jump into it. But that happened at the end of 91 on Christmas Day of all days. And Gorbachev just turned 91 years old. And anyway, you know, the way you'd have to get rid of 14 out of 15 people is with some serious war. And I've been talking about this since they gave us the pandemic after Event 201, the coronavirus pandemic simulation, on the day the military world games began in Wuhan, China. I said, has all this really been about training us to be used to like being under more authoritarian rule and getting used to rumors of martial law and having curfews and having to follow all these big brother guidelines, including putting a muzzle over your face? I started to wonder, living here in the Pacific Northwest, if part of the mask wearing was to get people, you know, used to being outside with a mask on because maybe something's wrong with the air. The last 2 summers here in central Washington, we haven't even really had summer. We've just lived in a smoke cloud all summer because of all the fires, which I don't think are natural at all. I think it's all part of a sick agenda to make us think we got to give up every last right and liberty before all these horrible things happen to us, from COVID to climate change to world war, and who's instigating it all. Who's purposely setting the fires, who's manipulating the weather, who's creating the unnecessary droughts. You know, it's the opposite of what JFK said. JFK said how we could manage the weather so there isn't drought anymore. These people are creating droughts. So you'll give up your rights and liberties so that, you know, maybe it'll be easier to start a food shortage and get the number down to 500 million. And I got to be honest, you guys. I mean, you know, deserves a tough word, but humanity does deserve to be wiped out. And you know why I say that? Because for 20 years I've been speaking out about what's wrong, and all I've gotten is grief and flack and called names and told I was a loser and a moron and a crazy person. And it was obvious I was right the whole time. I realized something was wrong on September 11th, 2001. There were two buildings, then there was zero, then there was one, you know. But the 10 things on the Georgia Guidestones: maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Number 2, guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Take a look at the populace they've helped create today. Fat slobs all over. Unite humanity with a living new language. I'm pretty sure that's English. That's rule 3. 4, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Well, at least we got Ketanji coming our way. Most corrupt courts there ever was. They're really going to have to fix that one. 6, let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. New World Order. 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. 8, balance personal rights with social duties. 9, prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. 10, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. 2 times. And there'll be a lot more room for nature if there's only 500 million people. So, again, those turned 42 years old today. And the thing that I've always pointed out about them, when I first started, the cipher that I did 90% of my work in was this. And I've been saying the same thing since about 2013. Georgia, where they are, is 44. And genocide's 44, and military's 44. And that's what I always speculated. I mean, how else can you get the world's population down so far without, essentially crazy warfare, or maybe turning the power off on people and leaving them to fend for themselves while they're all starving? Maybe really unleashing a messed up virus or a bunch of genetically modified mosquitoes that have, something 10 times worse than malaria. All different things that are kind of being floated around right now, unleashing all these genetically modified mosquitoes, making people bait for Pfizer. Speaking of Pfizer, 44, Operation Warp Speed. Let me see. Warp Speed's 44. The military plan to rush out the vaccine. But yeah, what I have been worried about since 2013 is when they turned 44 years old, which is still 2 years away. But the thing about them turning 42 with all these rumors of World War is 42. So anyway, I will be finishing my latest book, Illuminati Confirmed: The Jesuit Order, very soon, and I did plan to have it done at the end of last year, but yeah, I've just been learning so much while writing it and researching that I just keep making it better. And eventually, I just have to reach the point where I'm like, okay, it's just time to put it out. But it has been good the last few months because made a lot of great observations thanks to the community and just the ongoing research. But if you don't think the Illuminati's were real, again, I don't know what to say to you. It's pretty obvious it is. So it's not just a conspiracy theory, theories, well, I guess it's a theory in the same sense as the theory of gravity, which is provable. You know what I mean? So we'll leave it there for now, True Seeker. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. And let me see. What did I do? I hope I started this live stream. I think I did. That would have been something if I was just talking to nobody this whole time. And for the person who kept calling in, again, I don't know how you got my number because I don't have the Gematria hotline on. So you were calling me on my actual phone number, and if you were being sincere, I don't know. Wait till I'm done with the presentation and I say I'm taking calls next time. So Anyhow, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Have a good rest of your day, your evening. Make sure you get some rest. And until next time.